Bill Cosby karate. Explain
That's what I'm practicing so he can't molest me.
So I know very little about the whole. I don't remember all the allegations or is that the right word? Did I use a big word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I think I used it right for once. I don't know the full story on the previous case in like 2018. I think is when he got sent to prison or jail or whatever.
Yeah.
But I right before we were going to record tonight, I was like, all of a sudden I'm scrolling through the web and it's like, oh, Bill Cosby's out. I was like, what? Like, why? How did that happen? I thought it was a shoo-in. And it turns out
quite literally.
It turns out it was like some fucking oversight from a DA agent that like tried to set him up to fuck himself later, but because of the way he did it, it like made him go free. It was like a horrible, like, how do you?
They found a bunch of money somewhere that he gave him, and they let him out.
Yeah, maybe allegedly, right?
I don't know. That's our justice system now. If you got money, and I don't want to get into the whole class and race thing in our justice system, but I think we can all agree, no matter what your beliefs are, that if you have money, you can pretty much get away with anything.
Unfortunately. So for those of you that might not know, me and Adam live in the county of Manitowoc County, which is home to Making a Murderer on Netflix.
So home of the winners, guys.
Our justice system is sketch as shit. And whether or not you agree with whether he's innocent or not, I'm talking about this Steve Avery case, whether or not you agree with that, you have to admit that our fucking justice system, even this small little pocket, is pretty corrupt and fucked up, to say the least. But when I saw that Bill Cosby got out, I was just like, how? And then you watch the CNN reports and the Fox reports and everything, and everyone is so fucking casual about it. They're just like talking about, he got out on a technicality, and like, here's him with his wife and she supports him and blah, blah, blah. They're not, there's no outrage. There should be massive outrage for this.
Right.
If it is what it is. And like I said, I could be speaking out of place. I don't know. I keep getting these alerts on my computer, and I don't know why.
The Bill Cosby thing, I know there's only so much you can say about court cases and whatever alleged may be going on, whatever. I'm sorry, but it's really hard to sit and watch people act like the guy deserves a pass because he made you laugh a few years ago. Like, that's not an excuse. I'm sorry. That's not a pass. Like, okay, this guy made women pass out with drugs in their drinks and then fondled them in their sleep. Well, yeah, but then you remember that time he gave birth to the sub sandwich and the 3-liter bottle of soda on the episode of the Cosby Show? Like, yeah, I don't know how to tell you that. Like, that's not a trade-in credit system that anybody's playing with. Like, and I feel like people are. I feel like there's people out there that are legit like, but he had the show with the kids who said the funny shit. Like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
You'll never get away from that, like, in general. There's going to be a lot of people too that are going to be like, well, maybe he didn't do it, like they have full trust in our justice system. But I think like I said, and that's what I brought up, coming from where we come from, it's like, shit can get twisted even on a smaller level. You imagine a guy with millions of dollars, like, what could fucking happen?
Stuff can get twisted, but when somebody's defense is like, this doesn't really cut it. Like, Adam, you missed work today and you have $10,000 in your pocket, and it's exactly the same amount we were missing from the safe at work today. What's your excuse? We better check somewhere else. Sorry.
I was going through the comments section of some of these videos, and people are just like pissed because they're just like, do you guys remember when Bill Cosby was going into prison? He had a walker and he was saying he was going blind. Yep. And then he like strolls out of there all fucking popping it up and like fucking thumbing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it.
He's all jacked up and excited. He can see again. He can walk. It's like, if anything, you should be in worse shape.
Exactly. No, he was doing push-ups in there, dude.
Yeah.
He was getting his workout.
There'd be nothing more terrifying to me than like a fucking overly jacked Bill Cosby hanging around.
You could get rid of Buff Kangaroo. Here comes Bill Cosby just walking out, benching 350 with like some gang symbol tattooed on his right inner forearm. Just like coming out with 2 teardrops, not one. Anybody can get one. He's got 2. He comes out like tank top, like cut off chinos, like he's ready to fight. I'm out.
I imagine he smells a lot. Like when I picture the smell of Bill Cosby nowadays, like I put the scent of Brute cologne very strongly about his person. I don't know why. Do you remember Brute cologne?
Oh yeah, I remember Brute.
It's like everyone's dad smelled like Brute.
Yep, that's or Old Spice. Those were the only 2 smells at church on Sunday.
Yeah, so if you're about to enjoy a drink and you smell the scent of Brute, just be careful.
Yeah, there might be dentures in there.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a fucking. It's such a wild technicality to get let out on. Like you have the justice system with all these like ridiculous staples in it, like statute of limitations and all these things that have like no like. It's like oh, because it went so long we don't want to deal with it anymore. But like, how does that make any sense? When you oh, go ahead.
Do you think it's just age though? I mean, do you really think it's just getting to the point where they're like, well, but he's old, like, well, he's a burden on the justice system. Like, we're just putting him in here to die. Like, oh yeah, letting him go in his mansion is a much better idea where he can have like porn on every computer in his house. Like, yeah, let him do that instead.
Well, I mean, if he came out and he was still blind and like you know, fucking couldn't walk and shit, like, fine, whatever, just wheel him out in the sun and let him sit there for a little too long than he wants to. That's all fine with me. But he strolled out of there. But, you know, to be fair, he was only sentenced to 3 to 10 years, which that in itself is kind of like, really? Like, that's it? Like,
there's a cap on it, dude. He can make them sliding scale payments. That's all on a sliding scale. If you make under 25 grand a year, you're in there for the rest of your life. If you make over 250,000, there's a sliding payment system.
It's fucked. It's a fucked system.
I just like making extremes out of it. Like it's like a drive-through system.
Yeah.
Like you just go up there, hey, I committed a murder. Here you go. All right, see you later. It's like a video game. Like Skyrim, you just go in and pay off your wanted level and you're good to go. Yeah, that's how they live.
Oh, you're the Thane? Okay. You can just go on, walk on by.
If you don't pay the jailer off and you tell him to screw off, then you got to fight him to the death.
Yeah, that's how life should be. Maybe not.
When have we been the authority on anything?
Dude, I spend a lot of my life, I have this irrational fear of being wrongfully accused. And that was before any of the shit happened in our county or anything like that. Like, I've always had this irrational fear of being wrongfully accused. So I don't know where that spawns from. If in a previous life I was just like, I'm innocent, and I had to get hung or whatever. But yeah, just
you use the 2-party system when you go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm always like setting up my alibis, and like because of that fear, I have this like terrible habit of always seeming guilty. So my wife is always just like, "Well, what's that?" And then I'll like kind of like smirk and get uncomfortable because I'm actually uncomfortable, but I'll tell her the truth, and she's just like. She starts digging and she always finds that I'm being honest, but she's like, why are you so fucking weird about it? And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I just have this weird quirk. I feel like I'm, you know.
What are you hiding from, Miss Jared? What happened in 2004?
I never hide anything. Although we do, in our very first pilot of this fucking podcast, we did talk about the awkward window in the pool. So maybe there's some
totally forgot about that.
Or the coach is watching us shower. Like there might be some suppressed memories from that I haven't unleashed yet.
Apparently, we went to grade school and high school at Penn State University.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe like I have a memory of a coach like fucking holding a knife to my throat, just being like, if you ever fucking tell anybody, I'm going to tell me this, and you're going to go to prison. And then it's just like, oh.
I don't remember all that, but. Do you ever think though? I mean, do you ever look back on it? Like I think about that often. Like there's just gaps of time, and I'm sure that that's just human nature, that you just forget gaps of time in your past or whatever. But like, how many like maybe traumatic or even important events in your life have you just completely blanked out? Like either you dropped them off because of like lack of room or whatever your brain does. Like I recalled something finally one day because of a story that my brother told me that I hadn't remembered in like 20 years. And I just kind of thought, like, what are those parts of your brain that like you've shut off and someday you're just going to remember something from like 30 years ago that seems so irrelevant, but it was like life changing back then.
I have those moments. A lot of times it has to do with smell, and I've talked to people about that too. Like you'll get a excuse me, sorry. Smell my burp. No, you'll get memories are tied with your scent or whatever when you smell stuff. So like it's always like a weird, like a very detailed memory when I catch like certain smells. You know, like I'll be up in my cottage and I'll be working on you know, tearing out something, and I'll get like a smell of like that musty, like, you know, drywall that we're yanking out of there, and then I can picture myself like being up there and like, you know, tying my first fucking fishing hook on and all that kind of shit. Like, or talking. Who was I talking about? We were talking about something more recently that like I completely forgot about. Oh yeah, I was talking about the music thing. Like before I learned how to play guitar, I forgot about this memory up until I podcasted with Josh about going to a party when I was in 6th grade and hanging out with this girl, and her dad was a acoustic player. He must have been a damn good one because he had a bunch of acoustic guitars in his room. And I was like, oh, I know how to play. I didn't know what the fuck how to play. Like, and I picked it up and I just started strumming it. I didn't know what I was doing. But like I couldn't remember. I didn't remember that memory. Anytime you would have asked me prior, my earliest memory guitar wise, it was like seeing Mike play and then learning, you know, stuff from him right off the bat. And I completely forgot about that for years. So memory is weird. And also misremembering things is very, very weird and jolting.
We were just talking about that the other day, the whole Mandela syndrome thing, I think it's called.
For sure.
Like and I think it got its name because people like remember Nelson Mandela dying in the 80s and having like a huge funeral and stuff. But like he only recently died, like not recent, but obviously not in the 80s. I think it was.
Yeah, what was it? The Bernstein Bears versus the Berenstain Bears, and there's a bunch of weird shit like that. But there's I just listened to the. I don't know if you ever follow the Steve-O Wild Ride podcast.
Every now and then,
he had Duncan Trussell on there. Who's this? Do you know who Duncan is? He's been
the name sounds familiar, but
he's been on the Joe Rogan. Do you have some creepy toy playing? What was that?
That was my phone telling me I'm supposed to go to bed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I don't have to go to bed. I don't have a job.
You're just like, all right, I gotta go.
Fuck your phone. You don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, Duncan's like this like wild, like he has the show on Netflix, Midnight Gospel or whatever. It's like this whack ass cartoon that is all about like interdimensional existence and all this shit. And they were talking about the multiverse and all this stuff, like how like, you know, you can like the Mandela effect, like you could almost like see how that works. You know, you have these past memories from another existence that you checked out of, and you don't even know you checked out of it. And then all of a sudden, you know, deja vu comes into play, or you fucking, you know, you remember things differently because they did actually happen differently, and your brain just has like mixed signals and all this weird fucking.
But you wonder if some of that is now obviously over the course of your life. And I'm not a doctor, and this is all just things, you know, this is like things you think about while you're taking a shit is what I call it. And it's not necessarily just that moment, but it's the stuff that you ponder. But like, you wonder throughout your life, you remember things. Obviously, your brain takes a beating. You get hit in the head a few times. You consume substances, whether it be gross foods, whatever, that impact the way your brain and body works. You get older, things deteriorate. You wonder if at some point that's your brain trying to access memories and just getting goofed up and putting the pieces together wrong. So you start watching a movie that's like 3 movies put together and your brain just totally screws the pieces up. So I often wonder if that's like a corrupted hard drive, if you would say, as opposed to like a multiverse. I think people look at things from like an astral side of stuff. You know what I mean? Like people look for a spiritual, religious aspect to a lot of things. And if you really think about the way the human body works on a technological level, even, or maybe even just more of like a biomechanical level, or relate us more to computers, it really more explains some of the things that happen in our quote unquote subconscious. If they look at it more from the perspective that we're damaging the core components of a computer, which we're arguably doing our entire life. Eat that one.
Yeah, that's
that's the weird stuff I think about all day. Like, and that's the guy who I sit and watch professional wrestling and play video games all day, but then I like to watch like Cosmos and all that kind of scientific reality stuff. It's really nice to realize that we have this universe around us that we understand none of, but you have the ability to pick up some of these concepts if you're willing to stop watching Real Housewives and turn on some educational shit.
One weird thing. What were they talking about? They were talking about like people that had like died and then been revived. They all, like, a lot of people have this thing. I guess you can look it up on YouTube or wherever.
Yeah,
it's called what is it, like the replay? So you die and then like you get a flash, you know, your life flashes before your eyes. You've probably heard that expression before, right? But like a shit ton of people have the same profound experience of like knowing every experience of their lives and every emotion. And it's not just from your personal point of view. It would be like if there was a mosquito in this room, across the room, sharing the experience, and you can step out and in the time frame experience what that moment was like in the mosquito, reflecting on yourself. And a lot of people have the same consistent stuff like all the way across the board. And that's like when your brain is disconnected, supposedly, or whatever. You know, whatever neurons are fucking flying or whatever. I thought that was very interesting. I actually want to do some research on that myself. But I also I'm really intrigued on this. When I was younger, I used to practice astral projection, and I don't think I ever talked about that.
Yeah,
but,
you did.
Me and Mike used to do it, and there was some like I know you're not going to buy it. I know you're not going to buy into this. I apologize for the constant alerts on my fucking. Hold on, I'm just going to write a timestamp and cut this out.
Just deal with it, guys. You get us raw and unemotional.
Oh, what am I at here? 1802. So basically, yeah, we would practice astral projection, and like we got good at it. I know it's going to seem crazy, and you're not going to believe or buy into any of it until you start looking into it. You got to do a little bit of research, and it'll start catching your attention. But
pseudoscience is incredible. You'd be surprised what I believe. Like, fire it at me.
Well, I mean, it's like it is like to me, it feels like, and I'm going to use that word. It feels like you leave your body spiritually and you go on a fucking adventure while you're very lucid. You know, you're asleep, your body's asleep, but you are completely awake, and you remember the process of all these things. Like one detailed thing that I remember when I was younger and I still lived at my parents' house was I astral projected out. I went up into the kitchen, and then I didn't see my brother, but I physically understood that he was there, and a specific cupboard door opened up and then closed. And then I went back into my body, as you'd say, which is fucked up. And then I immediately, as soon as I got out of the process of being under, I went upstairs and sought out my brother, and I asked him, I was like, hey, did you come to the kitchen? Did you open up this cupboard? And he said, yeah. And he was kind of weirded out about it. And then I said, like, just now? And he said, no, like 2 hours ago or something like that. He was like, it was like a while ago. But I didn't know that. And I didn't see him do it. I wasn't up there when he opened it. So it was like, I felt like I stepped out and then I was behind time. And I have no way to explain what that experience was. But it was very profound and very interesting that I pulled him into the kitchen. I was like, this cupboard door, did you open it for anything? He's like, yeah, like, a couple hours ago I did this. And I was only out astral projecting for like maybe 30 minutes because it goes quick like that. If you do a session of like the meditation for like, and it takes like, you're out for 10 minutes, but it feels like you're stuck. Like you ever have sleep paralysis? You ever experienced where like,
yes,
you wake up, but you can't open your eyes. It's a horrible, terrifying feeling.
Yes, it is.
And maybe some of you that are listening know what I'm talking about. That is the gateway to astral projection. So if you hit that moment where you are awake, but you can't open your eyes and you can't move, sleep paralysis, you can go into a mantra of meditation and actually start producing these like waves from your feet down to your head, and you do this like wash feeling, and then you have to like lift out. I know this sounds crazy, but you lift out. I don't know what the fuck this has to do with Bill Cosby, by the way, but you lift out and you just
you try to lift it out, he puts it back in.
Yes.
But
And
anyways,
you exit out, and yeah, it takes like everything's like a weird process at that point. Like I don't talk about this too much because everyone thinks I'm a fucking Looney Tune when I bring it up. But like I've gotten stuck in my ceiling. I've visited the water tower on Picnic Hill in Two Rivers. That was something that me and Loveless were supposed to do. We set our alarms specifically to wake us up so we could meditate, and we wanted to see if we could astral project at the same time and meet on the astral plane at the same time. And I got stuck in my ceiling, and then the next day at school, I asked him, I was like, did you get out? And he was like, no, I just slept through it. I was like, oh, okay. But like, could you imagine like what this conversation or how my life would have been if I like would have astral projected and met my friend, and then the next day we go to school and we're like, do you remember this? And he's like, yeah. Like, how fucked up would that moment have been? I can't say it happened because it didn't. But how fucked up would that moment have been? I feel like it's possible, though.
But that's all perspective. Like, why would you say how fucked up would it have been? Like, how cool would that have been?
Well, that's what I mean. That's why, like, fucked up but cool. Like, I mean, like, we just
I don't like that people put such a grain of salt on all that kind of stuff. Like, I hate that you have to predicate something with that, like, or something like that with, I know you guys are going to think this is dumb, and I know you're going to think I'm crazy, because it's really, think about all the human mind is capable of. Like, think of all the things you're able to do at any given moment. Like, you're able to absorb millions of pieces of information at any given second while you're telling yourself to breathe, to think, to talk, to do everything your body is doing simultaneously and seamlessly. You're able to think all these thoughts. You're able to do all these things with your mind. Your imagination alone is incredible. And that's what gets me, is that you're one of these people that you're aware of how powerful the human mind is, yet we spend so much time as a people trying to differentiate ourselves from each other and trying to separate ourselves from each other. And really, if you look at it, like, we're all you're very powerful people. Like, your brain is a powerful thing. Your imagination is a powerful thing. If you had the ability to apply that without fear of someone thinking you were crazy, and to be creative all the time, imagine what we would be like as a people, instead of maybe just telling people all the time, like, get in your cubicle, shut up, go to work. Like, if we valued creativity more, where would we be?
We'd all be on drugs, DMT.
But I think that's an interesting way to look at it. Like,
it is. But as much as like you want to believe that more people can stay open-minded about it, I find myself like, this is going to be like a self-evaluating reflections piece right now.
Good.
I'm gonna dive into something. On a recent podcast, I sat down. We talked about fucking Josh's specific alien encounter, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And we sat down with Scott and Josh, and we talked about aliens. And then we had another episode where we sat down and we talked about ghosts. The whole time, to give me peace of mind, I went against the grain and just tried to like bring up disproving things. Even though these are people I know and trust, they're telling me their story, and I'm still bringing up, the plain devil's advocate to that conversation. But in my soul, it's like I know I believe them, but because the believing them means so much more in life, I purposely try to sabotage it to give myself peace of mind. That's a weird, heavy thing that like I'm being self-aware of. And like, even like when I talk about, because of that mentality, when I talk about stuff like, when I talk about astral projection and like these weird meditation studies and DMT experiences, and like
DMT is the shit.
When you have, I never experienced it, but you talk about this stuff, and like even as I'm talking about it, I know the mindset of the viewer wants to be like, fuck you, this is whatever. No, I'm not going to give it any thought, because that's how people are. That's how I am. Like, I'm just being honest with like myself. I don't know if you are like going to dive into it, or like maybe you have a different like open interpretation to it, but I feel like more and more people are along the lines of like trying to like give themselves peace of mind. So that's why I bring up the, this is going to sound crazy or whatever. Like, I don't.
There came a point in time where I just stopped caring. Like at the end of the day, the only person's sanity you can ever preserve, and the only person you can ever convince of anything, is really you. So if you believe something and something is true to your heart, how is it wrong to you? You know what I mean?
But
like,
I don't like
why
the
should
truth.
you have to? It doesn't matter if you like it or not. If it's what it is, it's okay to accept it. There are truths in the world that I don't agree with, but I'm still okay to acknowledge them. If you believe something, there's nothing wrong with saying you believe it, even if it's not popular belief. Acceptance is such a powerful thing, and I'm not trying to wave any fighting flags or anything like that. I'm just, as a whole in this world, acceptance has been lost really big time. Why is it so hard to look at somebody else and say, I don't agree with what you think, and I don't believe the same way you do, but you are not hurting me by believing it, so I don't give a shit. Why is that so hard? I guess. Why are we in a world where that doesn't have merit anymore? That you can look at someone and say, that doesn't hurt me and it doesn't affect me, so I don't care. If you want to come to work dressed like a unicorn every day, cool. That doesn't affect me. Are you doing your job? Is it getting in anyone's way? Nope. Cool. Do it. Like, we waste so much time worrying about things that don't matter. And ultimately that means something. You're focusing a lot of energy on something that doesn't matter. And usually that's going to be negative energy. So whether you, and again, I don't want to sound new wavy or spiritual, but you're manifesting negative energy. You're putting negative energy out there in the world and expecting positive results. So whether you believe in the world or karma or anything like that, no one's ever gotten positivity from putting negativity out. So I guess my viewpoint on everything is give everybody the benefit of positivity, because you're going to get their best self from them to you. You know, if I look at you and you say something that maybe I don't believe in, but I say, you know what? I don't get it. Tell me more. You're going to be encouraged to say, oh, he actually wants to understand and hear about it. And you're going to give me your best self telling me about something you're passionate about. If I go, Jared, I don't believe in that shit. Fuck you. You're stupid. Now you're coming at me from a point of hate, and I've insulted something you care about.
Sure.
You're throwing different energies out in the world for no reason whatsoever. I had no reason to give the second option to you. I had no reason to look at you and say, you're a piece of shit. I don't know that. If I ask you what you believe in and you say, oh, it involves punching old ladies, and I say, hey, you're a piece of shit, different story. But like, give people the opportunity to explain themselves to you. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe the only thing you'll learn is, hey, I guess I can live with that. You know?
That's well
I'm here
spoken.
to be your therapist, guys.
Yes. Okay, so back to Bill Cosby.
Yes.
So do you give him the benefit, or do you want to run him over with a fucking hour?
Him I want to run over, because he's already had the benefit. And like I said, he really didn't do anything to help himself other than try to hide behind things. I feel like when this whole thing started happening with Bill Cosby, he just kept putting up barriers and saying, you can't get to me. And then when he finally got to him, he just went, oh, look, I'm a wounded old man. He basically played it off. Bill Cosby basically made bitch moves. And I say that with all sincerity, like, Bill Cosby, you made some bitch moves. I don't cut him any slack on this. We were talking earlier last week about things that sometimes there's just things in your life that you can't let slide. You know, you get to a point where there comes to be, call it a moral high ground or whatever, but you get to a point where you say, okay, I can't stand for this anymore. There are two lines I never draw: people who hurt other people for no reason, and people who hurt children and women. And so he did something that involved hurting someone against their will and making them incapable of defending themselves. And to me, that's unforgivable. So I was really hoping somebody would hit him with like a bus before this could get this far. I get that he's old. I get that he was once funny. I honestly thought he was one of the funniest human beings on the planet. But you build a million bridges, you're a bridge builder. You molest one lady, you're now a convicted sex offender. Like, that's who you are for the rest of your life. You're not funny anymore. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, that's the most fucked up thing about everything. It's like it's obvious, but because of the way the justice system is, had to get slid under.
But it's just, do you think? And I guess this is a touchy subject too, but I guess just knowing you, maybe it's an okay topic. Do you think?
I can't wait.
What?
Well, I don't know where you're going. I'm just intrigued.
It's a touchy thing. So, like, do you think we put too much weight on I don't know if not retribution's the right word, or like too much money, like too much wager on the comeback story? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when people do something wrong, we always wait to see what the comeback story is. You know, if somebody sits in jail for 10 years and then we don't hear the comeback story about them, we just assume they're a piece of shit forever. And we don't do they did their time. You know, we don't give them that benefit of the doubt. We don't say they spent 10 years in jail, probably in horrible conditions. It was rough. We just continue thinking that they're miserable and they should probably stay in prison forever. But then you see the person who got their life back and started a new business and still had millions of dollars waiting when they got out of jail. And you hear that, they turned their life around and they really got back on the straight and narrow and got out in Hollywood and made movies for the kids again. And it's like, you're putting a story on a comeback for somebody who already had fucking everything. Like,
it's all about the circumstance. So, like, in specifically his case, no, like, I don't understand the first sentencing. 3 to 10 years doesn't seem like enough. But then again, he's old as shit. Give him 10 to 20 so we know he's just there for the rest of it and he's fucked.
But I'm saying if he turns around for like the last 10 years and just like donates the rest of his money to like abuse victims and like changes his life completely, do you think people when he dies are like, okay, we can start watching his movies and stuff again because he tried to turn it around at the end? Like, do you feel like I feel like that's where the justice system gets the hardest, is that people who are famous or people who have money can get out and can rebuy they can get their lives back by putting themselves out in the public eye. And
I think it's going to differ from person to person, but there's still that standard of like what the circumstance is for my own opinion on it. Like, when I look at what happened with Louis C.K., I feel like he should have his life back. I don't know.
Fuck that guy.
Okay, this will be interesting.
Okay,
I want to hear.
Okay,
hear
so like, if you're getting into the Sarah Silverman parts where he was like asking her if like he could like whip it out in front of her and stuff, like, that's cool. Whatever. If you ask someone like, "Hey, can I beat off in front of you?"
She didn't.
Like,
I don't know if she admitted that, because she was like surprised by. She claimed that she was surprised by his actions, and then very disappointed.
She was surprised that he did it. in front of people without asking first is I think what it was. The
But
interview I saw with her.
I don't know if that like the story that I heard and the multiple stories I heard was like it was like over the phone or it was always asked. I never heard anything that said he just like came out and just like whipped his dong out.
Oh,
And did
see,
shit.
the last two that ended up like claiming against him, he like got him in a hotel room and just like dropped his pants and started like jerking off in front of him because the only way he could apparently get off anymore was for shock value. The story of Sarah Silverman was telling is that she was asking about if she had ever seen anything like that from him before, and she said, "Oh yeah, there's a few times he actually came up to me and asked me if he could jerk off in front of me, and there was a few times I said, yeah, sure, why not?' And I'd watch him, and there were some times I'd be like, no, not tonight, and he'd be like, okay, and then he'd leave." So she was kind of saying, yeah, he's done that before, but he always asked me. The people that had accused him later had said that he just got him in a hotel room, like turned around and started whipping it out. And
yeah, I think that's touchy waters because like to my understanding of the situation, that's not how it went down. So I don't know who's got what story right. So if we carry on, I'm gonna research this more.
Let's do some research here
because this will be interesting.
Let's keep talking.
To my understanding, he made a lot of people uncomfortable because he was in a place of power, and he asked about that proposition, and that made the people looking up to him.
Here's one. In 2002, a Chicago comedy duo, I won't say their names, landed their big break, a chance to perform at the U.S. Comedy Arts Festival in Aspen, Colorado. When Louis C.K. invited them to hang out in his hotel room for a nightcap after the late night show, they did not think twice. The bars were closed and they wanted to celebrate. He was a comedian they admired. As soon as they sat down in his room, still wrapped in their winter's jackets and hats, Louis C.K. asked if he could take out his penis. Oh, so he did ask.
Okay.
They thought it was a good joke and laughed it off. Then he really did it. Without getting their consent, he proceeded to take all of his clothes off, get naked, and start masturbating. So he asked, they never responded. And then he just took his shit off and started beating it, I guess.
I feel like that's a gray enough area. I don't know the real situation. I'm not going to say that they know the real situation. You know what I mean? Like what's involved. If you're all fucked up and you stumble up to a hotel and you're just like, hey, you guys care if I whip out my dick and start doing this? And they're like, just kind of look at you and laugh, and then you do it. It's like, you weren't like, no, like there's gray area there. I know it's shitty, but it's like.
The one thing I gave him is that at least he came out and was like, yeah, I did that. Sorry. Like, it wasn't a great apology, but at least he didn't try to dodge it. He was like, yeah, I did that.
So, okay. I give him some credit for like taking it on, you know, explaining a little bit of it and apologizing. But he did this a long time ago. And unfortunately, what was that year? What year did you say that was?
Oh, man. Let me check again.
Because, and this doesn't make it right, but I think it makes it like gray territory. When you look at times and existence, like, okay, like
it was 2002.
So yeah, we're talking like a long fucking time ago. And when you're young and dumb and full of cum, as they say.
Yeah, 2002. Okay.
Not to give him like a free pass or anything. I just don't. He got a lot of shit for it. He had to apologize. He took a hit, but then people wanted him to have no life. And I was just like, I don't agree with it. And he admitted everything that he did. And like I said, that right there, like what you read, was there anything that you can find that says anything concrete where it was like uncomfortable pursuit, you know, predatory, you know, because when you read that story to me, I'm interpreting it as like, well, two sober parties, that's a very uncomfortable situation. Everyone's drunk and partying. I know people that have been at parties that have gotten butt naked in front of everybody and done the weirdest shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess the two sides of the coin to me are, and I agree with you on this part. I'm a firm believer that people get punished for things that they do. But I think the court of public opinion is enough. I think every person has their own decision to make about how they feel about him. And that's enough. If there's people that want to continue to watch him tour, and there's people that want to continue to watch him make stand up, and there's people that want to continue to watch him be a comedian, then why should he not continue working? I don't believe in cancel culture to that extent. I believe that you have the right to say, hey, I don't think this guy should have this job anymore because he's disgusting. And if everybody else says, you know what, I think he's really funny and I want to keep watching him, then I guess ultimately that's what it comes down to. And the same could be said for Bill Cosby. I guess if every other person in the world decided tomorrow, hey, Adam, you know, it's not going to happen. But if they were all like, hey, Adam, you're wrong. Bill Cosby is funny enough and made enough great episodes of the Cosby Show. We're just going to let him have this one.
No, I agree with you on that. I agree with you 100% on the Bill Cosby. He should be fucking done and
right. But I'm just saying, if everyone else said no, ultimately, everyone has the right to choose whether they want. You know what I mean? Like you can't tell the guy you can never work again.
This is a perfect scenario for like a comparison because like Louis C.K. still tours now and has a fan base that support him. And then you're going to have the divide of like, you know, me and you are a perfect example of this. Like we started this conversation where you're like, well, fuck that guy. And I'm like, well, hold on, you know, like let's have a conversation about it at least. I feel like what he did was kind of scummy. I've known people that have done similar, not that drastic, but I mean, it's all context, and then you're taking people at their word. Now, was he actually convicted of a crime?
My vote on Louis C.K. is that fuck that guy. Like I'm off that train. Like for me, that's just like I'm on board big time with the whole like if you've done gross shit to women, I'm just not on board. Like my vote is against Louis C.K., but I totally get where you're coming from. And again, I think everybody has the right to decide. I don't think that cancel culture has the right to say you're not allowed to work anymore. Like you're not allowed to make money being a comedian.
Can I say a few other things just to play a little bit against the grain here? So when this specifically happened, and I remember hearing about it with Louis C.K., I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, it's not comfortable. It's super fucking embarrassing. It is gritty and unpleasant. But then I thought about, do you think in your mind that the members of the band Metallica or Motley Crue or any band like that didn't pull some powerhouse, disgusting man shit to women over those years? In all honesty.
Yeah. So I don't like any of the bands. I can say pretty much, even reading up on them, with the exception of a couple of guys, most of the bands I listen to, I do not like any of the individuals as people.
Okay.
There's quite a lot of the bands I listen to that I like see some of the stuff. I'm like, wow, those guys are really fucking pricks. But the music is different.
That's the thing. Like sex, drugs, and rock and roll left the window or door open for all these weird situations. Because I remember watching a documentary even with Metallica where it was like, oh yeah, we had mothers and daughters and all this stuff under the stage, fucking everybody in the in between, and it's like, okay. And then I hear a story about Louis C.K. like fucking asking if he can jack off in front of people, and I think I'm not trying to promote that like, hey, Louis C.K. is great for what he did. Don't get it wrong. I just like to think that it was a long time ago. He made some very dumb decisions, but I don't know where the context lies in those decisions. Were they all fucked up? Did the accusers actually give him more incentive that they were actually open to the idea of it? And now they're, quelling it or whatever. I don't know the situation directly, but there was no actual prosecution against him. It was just he got canceled. And we talk about cancel culture all the time, but there was no court. There was no decision on it. At least with the Bill Cosby thing, we are in agreement because like it was proven that he was a piece of shit and did this, but because of a technicality, he's out. So I'm really glad that we stepped into the Louis C.K. stuff a little bit, and now we can like kind of like agree on like.
But that's where I feel like that's where the court of public opinion is the happy medium, because like if I walk into you like we walk into the studio and you and I are there and Mark and Jeff and Josh are there, and I walk in and say something stupid and you guys are like, hey, Adam, that was the dumbest thing ever, and you need to leave right now. Court of a public opinion wins, and I am no longer allowed in the room. Doesn't mean you know what I mean? Like whatever I said, I may stand by it forever. But that's where I think the happy medium is. Sometimes judicial court can't take care of everything. Cancel culture isn't fair because you can't just take someone's life away from them. Court of public opinion's the happy medium. Can't win them all, but if enough people say you suck, I guess you got to try something else.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you don't think less of me at all for my mild opinion about Louis C.K. I'm just kind of
never.
I would love to know the details. That's how I always am with like. I can honestly say like the last few years of my life, I've been more like I've been proven time and time again to get. Sorry, I just got a new follow on my stream and it just like fucking screamed in my ear. Anyway, as I was saying, I've been more and more open-minded to things, and like there's one story that I'm gonna end this podcast on that kind of brought to light. Do you remember that controversial story of the college kids or high school kids that were harassing the Native American in front of some Trump rally or whatever it was?
Yep. I remember that.
The media picked it up and they pushed this agenda that these kids were harassing this guy, and it was this big.
And then it was the other way around. I remember all that.
And that's why I take more that specifically, because I remember that happening. And I remember my brother actually backing it up and posting and talking about how disgusting it was. And turns out, total opposite. And it was like everything you've seen that the media displayed was like, this is what it is. This is what happened. And you can't deny that was the interpretation. But because of the slightest details being left out, your whole perception of what that situation was is now changed. So that's why with like cases like Louis C.K., I'm more on the back burner of like, well, I don't know the whole story, so I'm not gonna hate the dude. I know he's a father. Like, I know his comedy is based around being a single dad and doing all this stuff. So like, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And then when I think about, you know, somebody that's like, you know, Bill Cosby, where it's like it's just cut in stone. You have the story as it is. Like, do you think at any part of your mind that there's some bit of evidence that makes it like he's innocent?
No,
neither do I.
No.
And that's the interesting thing about like how we choose to like perceive and move forward and do things. And none of it's necessarily wrong, because either one of us could be right about one, but you know, we agree on the other, so it's all good.
The funny part of my wrap up for this real quick before you say goodbye is that we talked before about putting negative and positive energy out there. And I think it's funny that if you look at the situations that have happened the last couple of years where our information has been controlled on how it was directed to us, no matter what information it is and no matter who's giving it to you. If you look at the way information is directed at us, how many times have you seen information given to you in a positive light that will make you share a smile with your neighbor? The information out there is put out negatively because it gets you to have an emotional reaction and to discuss it with somebody else and to ultimately force you to pick a side. And it's just, again, remember, you can always choose to put positive energy out there, and you can always choose not to have a side. You can believe what you believe, and you can always just ask someone else to try to help you understand. And if you walk away from that not liking each other, at least you tried.
I agree. And I think more and more people need to just in general chill the fuck out.
It's just the world is always either going to try to sell you something or make you angry about something. So if you can spend 1 minute of your day turning that around and trying to make somebody feel good about one thing, whether it be giving them a stupid compliment or saying something funny. If you can make somebody smile for a half second out of the day, or you can give them a little bit of positivity, you can. I know it sounds cliche, but you can change a ton of stuff.
You know, that I'm gonna leave on that note too. Let's all try to make one positive choice and influence every day for until the next podcast, and see how you feel at the end of that. I think that's a great challenge, because like there are studies that back that up. When you push good karma into the world, like it makes you feel better, and we all want to be happy, don't we?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
It takes a lot of energy to be upset.
Yes, it's exhausting. I got to stop being mad all the time.
I agree.
All right, Adam. Thank you so much. You guys have been watching Camping for Assholes.